Chapter 52:30. As she spoke, she wiped the water off her hands and said casually, "I'll move your bed. Miss Sue, serve Master Ching well, he misses you." Sister Hong was about to leave. Master Ching was anxious. "Why are you leaving?" "Woman, I mistook you for someone else." He jumped down to catch her, but this time, he was in too much of a hurry and tore his wound. Master Cheng's dark face turned pale. He covered his wound and slowly sat on the bed. Su Jian's heart ached and went to help Master Cheng. Although he was in pain, he pushed her aside. "Get out." Su Jian's lips trembled. After a long time, she said, "Master Cheng, don't regret it. If you get together with this old woman, I'll ignore you." Just as she said that, Master Cheng slapped her. "How dare you scold my woman? Who's an old woman? She's a fairy in my heart," Master Cheng said in a rough voice. Su Jian couldn't believe that she couldn't win against an old woman. Master Cheng was so protective of this woman. Did he want to marry her? She was so embarrassed that she covered her face and ran away. Sister Hong watched on as if she was watching a show. Master Cheng was a little angry. "Call the doctor, do you want your man to die?" Sister Hong saw that he didn't seem to be faking it and called the doctor. The result was serious. Master Cheng would have to stay in the ward for another week. But Master Cheng was happy. The weather was changing outside. He lay on the bed, enjoying his woman's comfort. He nibbled on a crystal pear and hummed a tune. This is life. Even though he was injured, it was a pity that he couldn't have other entertainment activities. As Master Ching sang, Xiao Mao talked about the situation outside. In the end, he said in a small voice, "Sister-in-law." Sister-in-law went out to take care of things. It's much calmer outside. Master, sister-in-law is really capable. Xiao Mao was sincerely impressed and praised her. Master Cheng was about to stomp his feet, but after listening to her, he became excited and felt that his woman was capable. But even though he was proud, Master Cheng didn't want Sister Hong to get involved. After Xiao Mao left, he looked around the small room. Sister Hong was writing a script in her notebook with a cup of coffee in her hand. Master Cheng leaned over and said happily, "What are you writing?" Sister Hong had written an English manuscript. She wanted to show off, but she couldn't understand a single letter. So his face darkened. "Why must you write in a foreign language instead of a native? So you don't want to drink wine and smoke cigars anymore?" Sister Hong glanced at him. Master Cheng's face turned red and he scratched his head. "How can this be the same? Buying things from foreigners and letting them work for us, how cool is that?" Sister Hong continued to write, and then said indifferently, "Yeah, I'll beat you to death, Westerners are so funny." Master Cheng was a little angry. "What do you mean by dying? All you want is for your man to die. Without me, where would you find such a perfect man? They're rich and healthy." Sister Hong snorted, "You won't be able to find anyone as thick-skinned as you." Master Cheng smiled and squinted his eyes. "Did you miss me?" "Shameless, get lost," Sister Hong said bluntly. Master Cheng immediately suspected that he had been hospitalized for half a month, and they had been separated for such a long time. With this woman's flirtatious attitude, could she have found another gigolo to accompany her? Thinking about the process of accompanying her, Master Cheng felt especially uncomfortable, feeling that he had been cheated on. Chapter 52:31. Updated quickly, Master Cheng approached silently. Sister Hong was caught off guard and was caught in his hands just like that. He asked her in a low voice, "Have you done anything wrong to me?" Sister Hong couldn't take it anymore. "Are you crazy? I'm not your wife." That was equivalent to admitting it. Father Chang's heart turned cold. It was over, he was cuckolded. Then, his eyes turned green. He didn't know how to control his strength. Sister Hong couldn't take it anymore and closed her notebook. Cheng, are you done? Master Cheng looked at her expression and knew that she was pissed off. Master Cheng was originally angry, but when he saw her getting angry, he calmed down. He smiled. I'm just teasing you. Sister Hong sneered. So what if I'm looking for a gigolo? I'm not related to you and we're not husband and wife. After saying that, she packed her things and left. Strangely, Master Cheng didn't stop her. Instead, he sat there in a daze. Sister Hong gritted her teeth and wanted to leave. Master Cheng said faintly, "You've definitely never loved me. Are you crazy?" Sister Hong snorted. Cheng Zhang, go and check the neurosurgery department. She was furious. Everything was fine, but he said that she was looking for a gigolo. Master Cheng was angry and wronged. Are you jealous? Sister Hong said coldly, are you jealous? You're a ginseng cock. Master Cheng was like a child twisting words and forcing logic. Do you still have a conscience? Sister Hong said coldly, I don't have a conscience. Who was the one who went to Su Yu's place in just 1 week? Why didn't you check your conscience when you were having fun? Did a dog eat your conscience? Cheng Zheng, how dare you ask me if I'm jealous? Are you very proud of yourself? You made a woman cry, aren't you? It's true that you don't care about women, but you can't force women to care about you, right? You're not loyal and you still want women to be loyal to you. Cheng Zheng, do you think women are dogs or playthings? Master Cheng was a little confused. I just said one sentence. Why are you so angry? Sister Hong sneered. I'm not angry. I just looked down on you. She was really leaving. Master Cheng made up his mind and said, let's go, let's go. You don't have to care about my life or death. Anyway, I'm just an uncouth man. I know you graduated from a prestigious university, so it's normal that you don't like me. As he spoke, he went to the ward to find a cigarette to smoke. He looked like a child who was sulking. Sister Hong sneered, I can't beat you to death. Cheng Zheng, I won't fall for it. You can live or die, I don't care about you. You look like you're well developed, but you're actually a giant baby who lacks motherly love. You don't need a woman, you should find a nanny. Cheng Zheng, I'm not going to fall for your tricks. Master Cheng was furious. Get lost. Otherwise, I'll beat you. As soon as he finished speaking, Sister Hong threw the notebook in her hand at him. Master Cheng dodged quickly, or else his head would be bleeding again. He stared at her with bloodshot eyes, and so did Sister Hong. Neither would yield to the other. Finally, Grandpa Cheng spat out a few words, get lost. Don't let me see you again. Whoever looks for me again is a bastard. Sister Hong said fiercely, I'm looking for a gigolo. Don't you cry. Whoever cries and squints is a bastard. Master Cheng said ruthlessly before turning his head away. Get lost. Don't think that I won't be able to bear to part with you. I can find a lot of women like you. This woman wanted to kill him just now. Chapter 52-32. Updated quickly, after Sister Hong left, Master Cheng's heart was filled with regret, but he couldn't bring himself to lose face. Xiao Mao came in and Master Cheng snorted. Then, he couldn't help but ask, that woman left. Xiao Mao nodded and bowed. She left. She left completely. She won't make Master Cheng angry anymore. That's more like it. Master Cheng said stubbornly. Then, he seemed to have thought of something. Actually, I didn't do anything. I was just jealous. Her temper is too bad. If it was another woman, I would have given her 2 slaps. Xiao Mao, who was listening at the side, felt that it was too difficult. But, he still bravely said something fair. Master Cheng, don't dislike what you said. Sister-in-law has suffered many slaps from you. Master Cheng's eyes widened. I even suffered many slaps from her. Who am I going to complain to? Master Cheng paced back and forth and grumbled a few more times. Xiao Mao could only listen. In the end, Master Cheng's eyes turned red. Damn it. She has no conscience. I can't let her go. She left so easily. Xiao Mao was also convinced by Master Cheng's great love. How infatuated. Xiao Mao came up with a bad idea. Since sister-in-law doesn't change her mind, why don't we go back to the villa and find a few girls? Master Cheng will definitely like them. Master Cheng stared at Xiao Mao. What did you say? Xiao Mao boldly said it again. Master Cheng gave him a light slap. You don't want to live anymore. Didn't you see that your sister-in-law is angry? You still want to find a few girls? Do you know how capable I am? Xiao Mao was slapped, but he didn't get angry. Instead, he secretly laughed. Master Cheng also realized that he had said too much. His face darkened and he gave him another slap. You little brat. You set me up. Xiao Mao said softly, how would I dare to, Master Cheng? After that, she told him how eldest sister-in-law took care of Master Cheng when he was asleep. Listening to her, Master Cheng was overjoyed. It seems like this woman loves me to death. Xiao Mao flattered. Yeah. I can see that sister-in-law is deeply in love with Master Cheng. Master Cheng was in a better mood. He lay on the bed and nibbled on an apple. After a while, he asked, do you think I quarreled with her in the hospital again? It was so ugly. Will she really find a gigolo? Xiao Mao mumbled, that's hard to say. Sister-in-law is also a woman. Master Cheng rubbed his head anxiously. Do you think if I go to your sister-in-law now, will she care about me? He asked Xiao Mao, treating Xiao Mao as a love counselor. Xiao Mao was a dabbler himself. He thought about it and said, maybe. Master Cheng grinded his white teeth and ordered Xiao Mao, how about this, you let a few brothers follow your sister-in-law. Xiao Mao's eyes sparkled. Surveillance. Master Cheng was unhappy. What surveillance? That sounds so bad. Your sister-in-law is such a beautiful woman. Of course, I have to keep an eye on her. Xiao Mao said, that sister-in-law is much better than before. This is the power of money. Master Cheng was quite proud. Isn't this my credit? Without me, she wouldn't be so beautiful. Xiao Mao suspected that Master Cheng was behind the scenes, but he had no evidence. After talking for a while, he arranged the surveillance, protection work. Sister Hong returned to her high-class apartment and resumed her life as a single aristocrat. It was hard to wake up early and return late. However, the newspaper office was doing well. Chapter 52-33. But after a few days, she realized that there were people following her everywhere she went. They were obviously not good people. She caught one of them once, and the person stammered and said that it was Xiao Mao. You're so cowardly. Just say that it's Qing Zheng. Sister Hong let go of him and lit a cigarette. Is he still in the hospital? The person was very good at talking. Our Master Qing misses sister-in-law. He spends every day in regret. Is that so? Sister Hong smiled. I heard that he makes the nurse happy every day. Master Chang's subordinate couldn't stand it anymore. After a while, he said in a low voice, Master Ching just likes to talk. Master Cheng's hobbies are a little strange, but nothing has happened to make sister-in-law unhappy. Master Ching is now cultivating his character and is very well behaved. He's just waiting for sister-in-law to forgive him. When Sister Hong heard this, she was annoyed and amused. Did Xiao Mao teach you this? The man lowered his head. I said it myself. Master Ching wants us to learn about love, so we can say these words of love easily. Sister Hong was instantly disgusted. This Ching Zhang was simply too perverted. Go back and tell him that I don't need protection. I'm fine. Sister Hong finished smoking and stepped on the cigarette butt. That gesture was also very cool. The subordinate said with concern, Master Ching also said that sister-in-law should smoke less. Your health is more important. Don't be so disgusting. Get lost. Sister Hong's temper wasn't good. The subordinate went back to report to Xiao Mao, and his trusted subordinate Xiao Mao told Master Ching everything in detail. Master Ching gritted his white teeth. That coquettish old woman. She's afraid that my men will ruin her plans. Xiao Mao, continue to have people follow her and keep an eye on her 24/7. If she cheats on me, I'll cut off your heads. When Xiao Mao heard this, he felt that it was quite serious. So, he found those people and held a group meeting. Master Cheng's words are like this. Think about whether you want to do a good job or not. Otherwise, we won't have a good ending. If you do a good job, Master Ching will reward you handsomely. Each of you will get 500,000 in cash. Xiao Mao said and looked at the people below. Ever since he confided in his sister-in-law, Master Ching trusted him very much. In order to better understand the thoughts of a man and a woman in love, Xiao Mao also studied many romance novels and learned a lot. After Xiao Mao finished speaking, someone raised his hand. We're not doing this for money. We're doing this for Master Cheng's happiness. Xiao Mao slapped his thigh. It's good that you have this awareness. Work hard, Master Ching won't treat us badly. The subordinates were excited again. Therefore, regardless of whether Sister Hong resisted or chased them away, those few people stuck to her like cowhide and followed her wherever she went. All the places in B City knew that Sister Hong was Master Cheng's woman. Moreover, they valued her very much and had people protect her 24/7, treating her like a precious baby. Sister Hong couldn't do anything about it. She called Master Cheng and scolded him, but he was so thick-skinned that she couldn't do anything about it. After Master Cheng was discharged from the hospital, he had a lot of things to do. He didn't have time to look for his woman. Instead, he went to look for Yi Xiangnan. One in black and one in white, arranged to meet in a clubhouse. Master Cheng had brought a large group of people with him, and they stood behind Master Cheng. There were only 2 people in Yi Xiangnan's group. One was him, and the other was his secretary. Secretary Li had seen Master Cheng before, but he had never seen Master Cheng like this. He was so scared that his legs were trembling. This kind of scene could only be seen on television. Chapter 52-34. Yi Xiangnan was well-dressed and looked like a noble young master. He sat down gracefully. Master Cheng, did you call me just for a cup of tea? There was a box in front of Master Cheng. Master Cheng put his hand on it and said in a low voice, CEO Yi, this is the second time we've had tea together. I'm also a loyal and trustworthy person, but CEO Yi doesn't seem to be. Yi Xiangnan smiled slightly. I don't understand what Master Cheng said. The people behind Master Cheng were about to lose their temper. Master Cheng shouted, little bastard, how dare you be so presumptuous here? Get out of here. The man's face was full of anger. Master Cheng, this CEO Yi has destroyed so many of our venues and lost billions. How can we just let him go like this? It's too easy for him. Then he pulled out his knife and wanted to fight with him. Master Ching gave him a slap, which made the man dizzy. Master Ching scolded, "You can't destroy CEO Yi. You can't touch him easily. CEO Yi accidentally got a hole in his body. I'll hold you responsible." The man stood up straight with a wolf-like look in his eyes. The other 10 people were the same, as if they were going to bite Yi Xiangnan. Yi Xiangnan smiled faintly and looked up. "Is Master Ching putting on an act today? Are you putting on a show for me? A hole in my body." He stood up and still smiled slightly. Then he pulled out his gun and aimed at the man. There was a loud bang. There was a hole in the man's shoulder. Everyone was shocked. Even Master Ching, who lived on the edge of a knife, was shocked. Then he narrowed his eyes and thought, "I underestimated this gigolo." Yi Xiangnan looked indifferent. "Take him to the hospital, or his arm will be useless." This shot turned the situation around. Even Master Ching didn't dare to act rashly. The most important thing was that he couldn't touch the person in front of him. He could touch him, but all the people would be buried with him. Today, he also wanted to scare this gigolo. Maybe his legs would go soft. But, absolutely not. He stared at Yi Xiannan, suspecting that this pretty boy had been trained. Otherwise, how could he have such skills and boldness? After all, there were more than 10 of them on their side, and they could take down this pretty boy in a matter of minutes. However, he had fired the gun. It was obvious that he knew that he wouldn't dare to completely turn against him. "Great, you're really amazing." Master Ching grinded his teeth and grinned, "Lindsay, why don't you thank CEO Yi for his concern?" Lindsay's forehead is full of sweat because of the pain, but he still clenches his teeth and bears it. "Thank you for your concern, Boss Yi." Yi Xiangnan calmly watched as he was helped out. Then, he looked at Master Ching. "Now, can we start talking?" Master Ching sat down lightly. "CEO Yi has given me a good show of strength." "Same here." Yi Xiangnan smiled. Master Ching pushed a box in front of him over. "This is for CEO Yi. I hope you like it." Yi Xiangnan smiled and asked Secretary Li to open it. As soon as Secretary Li opened it, he was stunned. "Isn't this a national treasure? The jade cabbage that can't be found in the museum. It's priceless." Master Ching said indifferently, "I'm a rough man. I don't know how to appreciate these cultural relics, but CEO Yi should understand them. I just don't know if CEO Yi will like this little thing." Yi Xiangnan played with the thing in his hand for a while. "It's not bad." Then he put it back. "This thing, is it for me?" Chapter 52-35. 1 second to remember. Master Chang's eyes lit up. Boss Yi is a smart man. I will give this to his uncle. I hope he will like it. Yi Xiangnan's expression became more indifferent. His family doesn't like this kind of thing. "Master Ching, thank you." Master Ching softened his tone. "Isn't there Boss Yi to mediate in the middle?" Yi Xiangnan lowered his eyes, took out the thing, and carefully played with it. After a while, he raised his eyes. "It depends on how much Master Ching is willing to compromise." Master Ching heard it and said in a rough voice, "Say it." Yi Xiangnan was still indifferent. "That cigarette is the bottom line of that person. If Master Ching insists on touching it, I can't protect Master Ching." Master Cheng's heart was like a dog. "Toy boy, when did you protect me? Do you want me to die every day?" His heart was moving like this, but he pretended to be enlightened. "Boss Yi, please tell me." "Master Cheng, are you still pretending?" Yi Xiangnan sneered. "If you are still pretending, we don't need to talk anymore." He stood up as if he was going to leave, and Secretary Li looked at him carefully. Master Cheng said in a rough voice, "Okay. I won't bring that thing in again. Just take it as a blessing." Yi Xiangnan turned his head. "Are you serious?" Master Cheng said in a rough voice, "Of course I am serious. If I don't keep my word, how can I survive in the underworld? But this matter will take a few days. There are so many brothers, I have to make arrangements." Yi Xiangnan was quiet and didn't speak. Master Cheng was so angry in his heart that he even cursed the 8 generations of this toy boy's ancestors. He narrowed his eyes, too much, and wanted a foot after giving an inch. He came with sincerity, but this toy boy had no room for negotiation. Everything was his own concession, which was too shameful. But at this time, Master Cheng didn't dare to fight head-on, because he didn't have the confidence. He knew that the thing would harm people, but money came quickly. Master Cheng was a bachelor, so he didn't care about retribution. At this moment, as he gritted his teeth, he thought of a certain woman. He suddenly felt that if he did one less bad thing, would this woman live a better life? When Master Cheng thought of this, he felt a little better. Waving his hand, he said, all right, I'll do as you say." He rubbed his nose again. It was rather embarrassing, especially the way his subordinates looked at him. Master Cheng was furious. "I'm doing this so that you little brats can live well in the future. If you continue to do this, everyone will be screwed." His subordinates didn't make a sound. Master Cheng then looked at Yi Xiangnan and smiled. "If I, Cheng, agree to something, I will definitely do it. Tomorrow, I will burn them all, not leaving a single one. As for my brothers, they're all working for me. Boss Yi can't guarantee that he won't touch them. It's not easy for them either." Yi Xiangnan said calmly, "If Master Cheng can do it, I can also guarantee it." Master Cheng's mood was quite complicated. Getting Yi Xiangnan's guarantee was like getting the guarantee of that person. He was someone who could speak. After a while, he said again, "Is it because of Su Mu that you're not ruthless?" Yi Xiangnan shook his head. "No, it's just that she doesn't want to make things too big. Isn't it better for her to turn over a new leaf?" The main thing was that Master Cheng's business was too big. If he uprooted it, he wouldn't be able to bear it. Master Cheng was in a daze again, then said, "In the past, I didn't have food to eat. It was Su Mu who fed me like a dog for a few years. Because of this kindness, I won't touch you." Chapter 52-36. Memorize. Secretary Li, who had been nervous the whole time, was about to burst out laughing. Actually, Master Cheng was a little cute. Seeing her like this, Master Cheng immediately exploded, "I won't touch him, I'll touch you, okay?" Secretary Li was so scared that he peed his pants. He looked at Boss Yi. Yi Xiangnan smiled. "My secretary can't help being scared." Master Cheng didn't feel good. "Then I won't be scared. CEO Yi, I was so scared that I peed my pants and hid in the hospital for a few days. Why doesn't CEO Yi feel sorry for me?" Yi Xiangnan felt a chill run down his spine. "I'm not Reporter Lu. You don't have to say that to me." Master Cheng scratched his head. "I don't care about her." Yi Xiangnan smiled and walked out without saying anything else. Master Cheng shouted from behind, "Yi Xiangnan, you bastard. Don't tell Mumu about this." It was so embarrassing. A while ago, he was still crazily chasing after Su Mu. Now, he had fallen in love with someone else. Master Cheng's old face was a little embarrassed. Yi Xiangnan waved his hand. "Don't worry. I'll talk to her." Master Cheng was about to get angry. Xiao Mao leaned over and whispered, "Master Cheng, isn't this just right? Someone is confessing to Sister Hong on your behalf. Master Ching thought about it and rubbed his head. It's not bad. Xiao Mao, you're now a master of love. Xiao Mao naturally flattered him again, it's all thanks to Master Chang's good teaching. When Yi Xiangnan heard this, he felt a chill run down his spine. He quickened his steps and left. Back at Starlight HQ, he still had some things to deal with. Sumu happened to come over, so Secretary Li pulled her aside and told her about CEO Ye's heroic performance today. Then he looked at Sumu, our CEO Yi is amazing, right? It's true. I fired right there and then. I didn't even blink. Sumu looked at Secretary Li in surprise. Really? Secretary Li nodded hard. It's true. CEO Yi is amazing. He fought against more than 10 people alone without even frowning. Sumu didn't say anything, but Secretary Li continued, I was so scared that I peed my pants. So scary. Sumu whispered, is it especially dangerous? Secretary Li was stunned and then nodded. A little, but our CEO Ye's aura is really powerful. Sumu nodded. Secretary Li left the room. Yi Xiangnan was on the phone. He stood with his jacket on the back of the chair, his back facing them. Sumu slowly walked over. The carpet absorbed the sound of her footsteps. She walked behind him and gently hugged his waist. Yi Xiangnan seemed to be stunned for a moment. Then he pressed her hand down and said a few words to the other end of the phone before hanging up. He wanted to turn around, but Sumu didn't seem to want to let him. She kept hugging him. Yi Xiangnan said in a low voice, what's wrong, Mumu? He rarely called her that, but it was appropriate to call her that intimately at this time. Sumu pressed her face against his back and whispered, I don't want to talk, Yi Xiangnan. He smiled softly and said, Mumu, have you learned to act coquettishly? She tightened her arms and asked in a low voice, weren't you afraid at that time? Yi Xiangnan was stunned for a moment and then he knew what she meant. He said in a low voice, if I was afraid, how could I do anything big? He pulled her from behind and looked at her. His voice was hoarse. Are you crying? He reached out to wipe away the tears from the corners of her eyes, and his voice was incredibly gentle. At this time, the phone on the table rang. He didn't care about it, but held her face and carefully wiped away her tears. Chapter 52:37. The phone rang reluctantly, so he picked it up and put it aside. Then, he looked at his wife with a gentle voice. What's wrong? Why are you crying like this? Sumu bit her lip and said in a low voice, haven't you thought about Cymbidium chinense? Haven't you thought about me? I have. He said in a low voice, but if I'm not around, my parents will take care of you. But if I don't do it and someone else does it, it's very likely that that person won't be around. As long as my uncle is around, Qingxing won't dare to touch me. Sumu looked up and said softly, Yi Xiangnan, you bastard. Why are you scolding me? His voice was actually a little gentle. Then, he lowered his head and kissed her forehead. I thought you would like heroes. You're not, she said softly, her eyelashes wet. Then, she hugged him. Yi Xiangnan, although you're particularly despicable, I still hope that you can live well. He smiled. I will. Sumu didn't say anything and just hugged him. She rarely acted like this. In the past, she had always been indifferent to him. No matter how good he was to her, she didn't seem to appreciate it. Now that she was like this, he found it funny and a little heartache. Sumu was probably scared. His voice continued to be low. I promise I'll be fine, okay? Sumu didn't say anything and just leaned in his arms. There was a faint smell of tobacco on him. It was quite manly. Sumu didn't say anything and just leaned against him. Later, he carried her into the lounge and coaxed her for a while. He waited for her to fall asleep before he went to work. Actually, today was a thrilling day. She was so clingy, and he still had a lot of things to do. However, he didn't find it annoying at all. Instead, there was an indescribable feeling in his heart. Yi Xiannan put a hand to her forehead and smiled. At this time, Secretary Li pushed the door open and said, "Boss Yi, a customer said that your landline could not be connected." "Oh, I took it off for a while. I can connect it now." He smiled faintly and put the phone back on. Secretary Li looked at him strangely and then left. Yi Xiangnan continued to work until 9:00 at night. He stretched and went to the lounge. Sumu was still asleep. Yi Xiangnan sat by the bed and pinched her face. "Let's go home." Sumu woke up and stared at him. "Yi Xiangnan." He grunted, and she said that she had a nightmare again. Later, she fell into his arms and he hugged her for a long time. When Sumu came back to her senses, she was already in the car. She looked sideways and saw that it was the way back to the villa. "The Cymbidium chinense is with my mother," Yi Xiangnan said calmly. Sumu replied with an "oh" and asked, "Have you eaten?" "It's getting late." She looked at the time and found that it was 10:00. Yi Xiangnan nodded. "Not yet. Where do you want to eat?" Sumu thought for a moment and said, "I want to eat hot pot." He smiled and said okay. Sumu added, "Hot pot is the best in this weather. It's warm." After saying that, he threw his coat on her. "Cover yourself. You look so cold." Sumu refused at first, but there was a faint smell of tobacco on the coat, which was very similar to his smell, so she gently covered herself with it, only revealing her head. Yi Xiangnan looked sideways and felt that she was quite cute. Sumu, on the other hand, was caught by his gaze. Chapter 52:38. She felt that there was something different in his eyes, but she couldn't tell what it was. When they arrived at the famous hot pot restaurant, they unexpectedly bumped into acquaintances. It was Sister Hong and Zhang Fucai. They were probably talking about business. The two of them chatted while eating hot pot, with notebooks and some documents in their hands. Yi Xiangnan looked at Sumu and said in a low voice, "When your Master Qing sees this, he will fly into a rage again." Sumu looked at him and snorted, "He's not my Master Qing." She thought of Su Jian again and suddenly said, "Qingxing doesn't do this anymore. I don't know what to do with Jian. She's used to smoking that cigarette." Yi Xiangnan brought her to sit down and asked in a low voice, "Do you sympathize with her?" "No, I just feel that she has ruined herself," Sumu said softly. Yi Xiangnan shook his head, "That's also because of Qingxing. Forget about her body, that cigarette isn't something that Su Jian should have. If she didn't follow Qingxing, she wouldn't have had the chance to come into contact with it." Yi Xiannan then said, "I know that a lot of women like him and think that he's a little cute. But a person with a bad mouth is a bad thing. No matter how good his personality is, he's still done a lot of harmful things. I don't think he's a good match for women." Sumu looked at him strangely. "Yi Xiangnan, you seem to keep mentioning Qingxing today. Are you thinking too much?" "Well, I just want you to know about his bad behavior," CEO Yi said with a small heart. Sumu looked down. "I know." She looked in the direction of Sister Hong. Sister Hong didn't notice them and she didn't want to disturb them. She said to Yi Xiangnan in a low voice, "I'm just worried about Sister Hong. I think she likes Qingzheng. After a pause, she said, I don't know what she likes about Qingzheng. Yi Xiangnan ordered the dishes and smiled. I like him. He's rich, healthy, and good-looking. Who wouldn't like such a man? Su Mu looked at him strangely. Suddenly, Yi Xiangnan asked Mrs. Yi, by the way, Su Mu, how many do you think I have taken? Su Mu felt that he was boring and shameless, so she refused to answer his question. Yi Xiangnan chuckled softly. He stopped teasing her and focused on eating. On the other side, Sister Hong looked up and saw the two of them eating quietly. Sister Hong watched for a while and Zhang Fucai also noticed it. She whispered, should we go and say hello? Sister Hong shook her head. Let them eat in peace. She had mixed feelings in her heart. In fact, she was very clear that from Yi Xiangnan's standpoint, he wanted to kill Qingzheng. But in the end, he still gave her a way out. It was not only because the plate was big, but also more or less for Su Mu's sake. Qingzheng was indeed a very smart person. She knew that the situation was not good and she also knew why Yi Xiangnan let her go. So, she still followed along. A few days ago, the situation was very tense. Today, everything was the same as before. It should have been settled. She looked at him like this, but Zhang Fucai realized that she was wrong. He whispered, it's all my fault. If I hadn't been stupid before, we could be like them now. We could eat well and go home together. Sister Hong laughed. You think too much. Isn't it good now? You still have a wife and children. Zhang Fucai looked at her, lit a cigarette, and said faintly, how can it be the same? Sister Hong snorted. Don't talk after the fact. You were so infatuated with Du Meili. Chapter 52-39. Zhang Fucai smiled awkwardly. Wasn't that an accident? It won't happen again. It's none of my business in the future. But think about your wife. She followed you from a young age and worked so hard to raise 2 children. If she's still a dubious person, how can you face her? Sister Hong said as she picked up her coat. Let's go. You drank. I'll give you a ride. Zhang Fucai was flattered. Recently, his heart had been filled with Sister Hong. Although he didn't dare to think about it, it was good to be alone for a while, especially in a car. Just thinking about it made his heart flutter. Sister Hong quickly poured cold water on him. Don't think too much. I just thought that you might spend money to find a woman after drinking. I felt bad for your wife, so I was willing to give you a ride. Don't think too much. Zhang Fucai, don't think too much about it. You're no different from a eunuch here. Zhang Fucai's pig face instantly turned red. Lu Hong, did I say anything wrong? Sister Hong didn't buy it. She snorted coldly. I'm good enough for you. Don't be ungrateful. Zhang Fucai instantly became discouraged and followed behind Sister Hong like a rubber ball. Yi Xiangnan coughed lightly. Su Mu, look. Qingzheng is going to explode again. Su Mu asked softly, he has such a bad temper. How can Sister Hong stand it? Yi Xiannan looked at her with a strange gaze, and then said very slowly, don't you feel that Lu Hong's temper is a little worse? Su Mu thought about it and felt that it was true. Everything had its nemesis. That was probably it. Sister Hong sent Zhang Fucai back and waited for him to get off the car. Just as he was about to say something, she impatiently said, don't say that bullshit. This old lady doesn't fall for it. What were you doing earlier? Besides, this old lady likes fresh meat. Zhang Fucai felt wronged. Qingzheng isn't fresh meat either. He's almost 30, right? Sister Hong snorted. He has muscles. Do you? Zhang Fucai left dejectedly. Sister Hong drove to a bar, intending to have a drink before returning. She wasn't in the mood to hook up with a man. Of course, she would never admit that it was because of Ching Zheng. Sister Hong was especially beautiful now. Sitting at the bar counter, she only needed to smoke a cigarette. A bunch of little wolf dogs would come up to her, but Sister Hong would at most drink a small glass of wine with them. She seemed to lack interest. After sitting there for the whole night, she went back and found a designated driver. When she got into the car, she realized that something was wrong. The designated driver was none other than Master Ching. Master Ching took off the hat on his head and grinned. Great reporter Liu, what a coincidence. Sister Hong lit a cigarette. How boring. Didn't I say that whoever is looking for you is a bastard? Master Ching chuckled, there's such a thing. Why don't I remember? He had always been good at being a scoundrel. Sister Hong couldn't be bothered to explain to him as she smoked her cigarette quietly. Your business is down, and now you have a sports car. Seeing that she wasn't chasing him away, Master Ching was delighted. Well, isn't there a saying that goes a starving camel is still bigger than a horse? No matter how hard it is, we can't let our wives suffer. Don't you think so? Do you want to see how good I am? Am I still as good as before? Clearly, he couldn't say anything nice. Sister Hong didn't reply to him. Instead, she said faintly, just settle the others down. You don't have to worry about me. Master Ching replied shamelessly, but you're the only one in my heart. How can there be anyone else? Chapter 52-40. Sister Hong snorted lightly and did not say anything. She was probably tired and had a few drinks. Since Ching Zheng was driving the car, she slept in the car without any worries. When she woke up, she felt as though there was a huge dog beside her. Just as she wanted to speak, the dog said, "Don't move, I missed you so much." You bad woman, he missed me so much. Don't move, or I'll kill you. Sister Hong was speechless and slapped Master Ching. Are you crazy? Yes, I'm lovesick. I'm going to be a tortoise tonight. Master Cheng's voice sounded wronged. I asked you to drink with other men. I asked you to laugh with other men. I asked you to talk to other men. I asked you to hook up with other men. Are they as good as me? They are all men who take advantage of women. The more Master Ching spoke, the angrier he got. It was like a couple fighting. Both of them were injured in the end. In the end, it even made it to the hospital. The doctor's eyes were opened. This was intense. He had never seen a man and a woman who could do this to each other. The man's face was covered in palm prints, and the woman's was no worse off. Her hair was in a mess, and her makeup was ruined. Her lips were torn, and her neck was bruised, probably by fingers. Her chin and cheeks were also covered in suspicious fingerprints. How cruel must both parties be for them to be like this? If they were fighting each other, they could call the police. However, it was particularly strange that the man still accompanied the woman with a smile and wholeheartedly coaxed her. The doctor couldn't help but feel speechless when he saw the way he licked his G. Later, after thinking about it carefully, perhaps this was the love between husband and wife. Luckily, they were all external injuries. The man's injuries were serious. His body was full of fingernail marks and blood. How heavy-handed. He thought it was the man hitting the woman. But now, he knew that this tall and strong man was the one who was hit. Perhaps because the doctor's gaze was too intense, Master Ching was unhappy. He shouted, "Don't men have to give in to women? What's there to look at? I was just giving in. If I really hit her, I could crush her with one hand. Sister Hong glanced at him. Ching Zheng, say it again. If you know how to talk, say it more. Old Master Ching scratched his head. I'm not outside right now. I want to save face. You can hit me and scold me all you want when we get home. I'll even kneel down and serve you. The doctor couldn't take it anymore. All right, go and apply the medicine. Seriously, this man shouldn't embarrass himself outside. He looks like he's afraid of his wife. At this time, Xiao Mao came over and said a few words to Master Ching. Master Chang's eyes suddenly revealed a ferocious look like that of an animal, which scared the doctor. Master Ching was about to leave when Sister Hong called out to him, "Wait a minute, where are you going?" Master Ching smiled. "I'll be gone for a while. Be good and go home first. I'll come back to find you after I'm done." As he said that, he turned to little Mao and said, "Send your sister-in-law back. She needs at least 5 people to protect her. Do you understand? If she loses even a single hair, I will hold you responsible." Xiao Mao was put in an important position and immediately expressed his loyalty. "Master Ching, rest assured, I will definitely send sister-in-law home." Ching Zheng patted him on the shoulder and left. Only then did the doctor realize that this man was Master Ching. God, how did this woman make this man willingly take a beating? After the beating, he still fawned over her and even knelt down to serve her. Chapter 52-41. Memorize. Xiao Mao disdainfully said, "This is our sister-in-law. Master Ching loves his wife, can't he?" The doctor's expression was particularly strange, but a man who gave in to a woman wasn't much worse. After Xiao Mao finished speaking, he wanted to send Sister Hong back, and Sister Hong did not refuse. But when she sat in the car, she lit a cigarette and smoked quietly. Xiao Mao, who was driving, tried to persuade her. "Sister-in-law, Master Ching said that you shouldn't smoke." Sister Hong couldn't take it anymore and said, "You only have Master Ching in your heart. Why are you so obedient to him?" Xiao Mao was silent for a while before continuing, "I was picked up by Master Ching. When I was 10 years old, I was wandering outside, and someone broke my leg to eat. If it weren't for Master Ching, I would have died long ago. Master Ching is my second parent." Sister Hong didn't expect Xiao Mao's life to be so pitiful. After a while, she snuffed out her cigarette and said softly, "Then you and him are in the same boat." Xiao Mao immediately perked up. Our Master Ching also said the same thing. He said that this little bastard and I are fated. Sister Hong did not make a sound and just quietly looked out of the window. It wasn't until the car reached her building that she said softly, "Xiao Mao, does Qingjing do this often?" Xiao Mao did not understand what she meant and made a sound. Sister Hong said softly, "What I mean is, are we going to pick up some stray cats and dogs from the land of good people?" Xiao Mao made an "oh" sound and then said unhappily, "I'm not a cat or a dog." Sister Hong glanced at him. "More or less. How could that be the same? But you're Sister Hong, so you have the final say." Xiao Mao continued, "Actually, Master Cheng's heart is very gentle." Sister Hong couldn't take it anymore. She opened the door and said, "You can slowly revel in it." Xiao Mao scratched his head and felt that he was not wrong. Sister Hong had already gone upstairs. Little Mao and a few of his brothers followed her up. Sister Hong leaned against the elevator in silence. Xiao Mao softly said, "Sister-in-law, don't worry. Master Cheng is very brave. Nothing will happen." Although he said he would be fine, his waist was still slashed by someone, almost stabbing his vitals. That night, Master Cheng was admitted to the hospital again, but he didn't let anyone tell Sister Hong. He was a man. If he made a fuss over a little injury, then he wouldn't be a man. Master Ching was lying on the hospital bed. His upper body was draped in a shirt that was unbuttoned, and his waist was wrapped in white gauze. He had a look of nonchalance on his face, as if this was a normal occurrence. When one of his subordinates spoke to him, he gritted his teeth. That old me. Didn't he just invite me over for a cup of tea? How dare he talk back to me like that? If I don't pay attention this time, I'll kill him next time. Xiao Mao served Master Ching attentively like a woman. He cut the apple into pieces and fed it to Master Ching. Master Ching ate a few small pieces at first, and then scolded, Xiao Mao, why are you acting like a woman? Aren't you disgusting? Apples should be eaten in big mouthfuls, unlike you. You're not even as good as a girl. The little furry monster felt wronged and didn't dare to make a sound. At this moment, Sister Hong pushed open the door and entered. Leaning against the door, she asked, You got injured again? When Master Ching saw that it was her, he glared at Xiao Mao and thought, Little brat, did you say that? Xiao Mao quickly shook his head. Then, Master Ching looked at his woman with a smile. You dragged the great reporter Lu all the way here. What a rare guest. Sister Hong snorted coldly. I'm here to see if you're dead. Master Cheng's voice was filled with hormones. If you care about me, then care about me. Why are you so stubborn? Are you still a woman? Sister Hong walked over and forked the apple for him. Eat it. Chapter 52-42. Master Ching smiled as he ate. As he ate, he praised, the taste is really good. Look at you women, you are so meticulous. You even cut the apple into slices. Unlike us uncouth men, we all take big bites. It's so uncultured. Xiao Mao, who was at the side, felt even more wronged. He was the one who cut the apple, and Master Ching just scolded him for being a sissy. Master Ching was still smiling. His eyes were almost glued to Sister Hong's body, not willing to move away. Even though he was hitting her, his woman still cared about him. Just as Master Ching was unilaterally announcing his love, the door opened and a woman in a rather sorry state rushed in. It was none other than Su Jian. Su Jian's face was haggard, and it was a different kind of haggard than usual. She stood at the door and said, Master Ching, I can't buy cigarettes anymore. Master Ching frowned and looked at Sister Hong. Originally, according to his character, he would have kicked this woman out and asked her not to smoke. But she didn't listen, so who could she blame? But now that Sister Hong was at the side, it would be a little heartless to do that. So Master Ching coughed lightly, You haven't quit. Su Jian said softly, It's very painful. I can't take that kind of suffering. Back then, you wanted to have a good time, and now you're asking for it. Master Ching said very directly, I'm not selling this anymore, there's no point in looking for me. Su Jian suddenly rushed over and threw herself on the side of the bed, I beg you, Master Ching, I really can't leave that. I can buy it, I have money. Master Ching, you're not selling it, but I know you must have a way to get it, right? Burn it all. Master Ching cut off her thoughts, Don't think about all this nonsense, find a place to spend a few $100,000 to quit, and start a new life. Su Jian's face was a little blank, I've been there, but it's really painful. Do you think I don't want to? Master Ching really wanted to kick this woman to death. What did it have to do with him? He gave Xiao Mao a look, and Xiao Mao understood. He stepped forward and coughed lightly. Miss Su, why don't we leave first, and Master Ching can think of a way. Su Jian looked at Hong Jia, who was standing at the side. She secretly thought that perhaps Master Ching couldn't give her that thing because the reporters were there. Maybe he gave it to her in private, so she went back first. However, she waited and waited, but Master Ching didn't give her anything. However, when she was in extreme pain, a strange-looking old man accompanied by a few men in black walked to her side. His pair of indifferent eyes looked down at her and then threw a pack of cigarettes. Su Jian couldn't wait to take one out and sniff it. This was the smell. Just as Hala was about to say something, her hand was stepped on. Only when you become Mr. Mi's woman can you enjoy it. Su Jian raised her eyes. Her gaze was a little dazed, but she nodded without hesitation. From that day onwards, she became Qing Ye's sworn enemy's woman. She could still go to high-class places, had endless money, and was still the most favored woman by boss's side. Moreover, although Mr. Mi was older, there was no one around her who could compete with her. For a moment, Su Jian was also very happy. But she still couldn't forget Master Ching. Master Ching was a man she really liked, but she also hated Master Ching. She hated him for being heartless towards her, hated him for not loving her. She just couldn't understand. One was Su Mu, and the other was Lu Hong. Both of them weren't as good-looking as she was, so how could Master Ching be so infatuated with them? Now that Su Jian had found a new backer, she was full of confidence again. When she returned to her parents' house, she was all kinds of imposing, 2 small black cars. Chapter 52-43. Coincidentally, Su Mu also came back, mainly to bring some medicine for Su Daqiang. She didn't have much contact with her parents and rarely came back. Her relationship with Mother Su had also reached a freezing point. At this moment, Su Jian's car arrived. Mother Su immediately beamed with joy. Our Jian is back. Look at how exquisitely dressed you are. You're really beautiful. Su Mu just listened to such words. Su Jian enjoyed it very much. She acted coquettishly for a while, then took some supplements. Mom, this is what Mr. Mi asked me to give you. Mother Su was stunned. Aren't you with that bastard Qing Jing? Why is there another Mr. Mi? How's his character? Does he have a wife at home? Although that bastard Qing Jing was terrible, he didn't have a wife. He was also very generous, so Mother Su turned a blind eye to it. However, she didn't expect Mr. Mi to pop out now. She had to figure out whether it was Mr. Mi or old Mi, so she pulled her daughter over and asked in detail. Su Jian's pink face became a little unnatural. Mom, why are you asking so many questions? It's fine as long as he treats me well. When Mother Su saw that her daughter was well-dressed and had an air of nobility about her, her heart slowly relaxed. However, she still wasn't very happy. This was a mistress. Mr. Mi wasn't young, and he was also a black man. In comparison, he was a lot lower than Su Mu. This made Mother Su very unhappy. In her heart, her youngest daughter was the one she loved. Su Mu was already used to this kind of difference in treatment. She didn't take it to heart and bent over to get into the car. Su Jian called out to her. Su Mu lowered the window. What's the matter? Su Jian walked over slowly and touched the car with her fingers. You're driving a car worth more than 3 million. It seems like brother-in-law doesn't treat you very well. The car she was driving back to her parents' home today was worth more than 20 million. She heard that there were only 4 of them in the whole of B City. Mr. Mi had said that he would take over Master Cheng's business. This was exactly what Su Jian wanted. She would just follow Mr. Mi, but Mr. Mi asked her to come and establish a relationship with Su Mu. He said that Su Mu was very important and could directly affect the person above her. Su Jian was also a fool. She was clearly asking people, but she still pretended to be high. Thinking about it, Su Mu married an old man from the black sect while Su Mu married into a rich family. How could they be the same? Su Xiaosan was someone who could be slapped in the face by old Mi's first wife at any time. She had been spoiled by Mother Su for her lack of morals. Hearing her words, Su Mu smiled. Yeah, I think a car worth more than 3 million yuan is good enough. Su Jian wanted to say something sarcastic, but when she recalled Mr. Mi's instructions, she laughed awkwardly. Sister, when are you and brother-in-law free to have a meal together? Su Mu wasn't stupid. With Mr. Mi. Su Jian smiled. Su Mu smiled faintly. That's not necessary. Jian, I know what you are doing now. You'd better quit that thing. In the end, you will be used by others. Su Jian's face turned ugly. Sister, why do you have to be so harsh? Do you not like Mr. Mi treating me well? You can also ask him to be nice to you. Oh, I heard that he doesn't like you very much. It's all for the sake of Cymbidium chinense, right? Will he divorce you when he grows up? At this time, Su Mu's phone rang. She looked at it and saw that it was Yi Xiangnan. Chapter 52-44. Su Mu picked it up and said softly, "Why did you call?" "I'll be back in a while." Take Cymbidium chinense to have a children's meal. He's been making a fuss for a long time. She hung up the phone after a few words. Su Jian's expression was a little jealous, and her voice was strange. Even if you're not in love, you have to pretend to be in love. Will you live a tiring life? Only you know whether you're tired or not. It's good that you're not tired. Su Mu looked at her and understood why Yi Xiangnan was willing to take the risk to do that. This was simply poison. As long as it wasn't eliminated, there would be more Su Jian. Her spirit and soul were already distorted, and she couldn't tell right from wrong. She knew that this thing was not good, but she still helped Mr. Mi to harm people. Su Mu just didn't like Su Jian in the past, but now she was completely disappointed in her. There was really no family left. She drove away, and Su Jian stomped her feet. Mother Su came over. "What are you talking about?" Su Jian didn't dare to say those words to Mother Su. She just played with her fingers and asked with a strong desire to win, "Mom, who do you think is better now, me or my sister?" Mother Su thought for a moment, looking at the clothes and the use. It should be better. She loved her daughters so much that she couldn't bear to say the truth. It was good to wear and use, but in the future, when Mr. Mi got tired of playing with her, he would throw her away like a rag. Mother Su knew this the best. But Su Jian was young and energetic. She nodded. "Yes, I'm better than her, and she just feels uncomfortable." She didn't believe the rumor that her brother-in-law had transferred his 100 billion personal property to Su Mu. How could there be such a fool in a rich family? She didn't know that there were no fools, but there was true love. Su Mu drove the car back to the villa. Cymbidium chinense and Yi Xiangnan were already waiting for her. As soon as she got out of the car, Cymbidium chinense threw itself into her arms. "Mom, you look so beautiful today." Su Mu kissed him. Cymbidium chinense's mouth is getting sweeter and sweeter. Cymbidium chinense blushed. At this time, Yi Xiangnan opened the car door for them to get in. It was still Su Mu's car. They were too lazy to change, so they just let Yi Xiangnan drive. After eating a children's meal, the parents played with their son for a long time. When they went back, Cymbidium chinense fell asleep in the car. Su Mu carefully placed the little fellow on her lap and looked down at her son in the dim light. Her eyes were very gentle. Yi Xiangnan adjusted the temperature in the car to a moderate temperature, and occasionally glanced at Su Mu in the rearview mirror. She was not a top beauty, but she was good-looking. Recently, her temperament became more elegant, and she was good at dressing. They were all extremely simple, with a little leisure and laziness. Anyway, Mr. Yi wanted to hug her when he saw her. It was quiet in the car. No one spoke, which seemed particularly gentle. When they arrived at the villa, he got out of the car first, picked up his son, and whispered to Sumu, "Put on your coat." Sumu obeyed, put on the coat in her hand, and the family of three walked side by side to go home. After taking care of his son's sleep, Yi Xiangnan whispered, "You look so calm today. What happened?" Sumu touched her face. "What's wrong with me?" He went to pour a glass of water and put it in her hand. Then he said softly, "You have been strange since you came back from Su family. What happened?" Sumu held the glass, took a sip, and then said softly, "Qingjing quit. Did you hear that Mr. Mi started to do it?" Chapter 52-45. Yi Xiangnan nodded. "I know. I heard about it, but that person won't make it. If the higher-ups suppress him a little, he'll probably start crying for his parents." Sumu looked at him. Yi Xiangnan smiled. "And his supply isn't legal. Those who buy it are not fools. They'll get sick if they smoke it." Sumu was a little puzzled. "Then we don't care." Yi Xiannan found it a little funny. What's there to care about? Those people are willing to smoke that stuff. If you care about them, they won't even thank you. Isn't it better if they go bankrupt if they smoke it badly? Sumu stared at him. She stared at Yi Xiangnan until he was about to explode. "This is also my fault. Don't say that I don't have sympathy. My brothers who keep an eye on this matter are also working hard. They risked their lives. What about them? Other than him, Yi Xiangnan, who dared to show his face in public? Who else would dare to do so? Qingjing was hot-blooded, but that Mr. Mi was even more evil." Sumu whispered no, then said, "If Xian follows him now, I'm afraid she won't have a good ending in the future." As for that woman, Yi Xiangnan had no sympathy. He snorted coldly. "She's still a scourge. When that Mr. Mi is done, we'll throw her in with force. I don't believe we can't deal with her." Sumu leaned on his shoulder. After a while, Yi Xiangnan said in a low voice, "What's wrong? Are you afraid?" "No, I just didn't think that there would be so many dark sides," she said softly. "I just thought that what Sister Hong reported was the best." Yi Xiangnan smiled. "As long as there's money to be made, there will be people who will do the most heartless things." He hugged her and leaned his head against hers. He felt closer than ever. Sumu asked softly, "When will these end?" Yi Xiangnan let out a long sigh. "As long as there are humans, it won't end." Sumu didn't say anything. She just leaned on his shoulder. Yi Xiangnan smiled. "What's wrong? Your sense of justice is overflowing again." She didn't say anything. He lowered his head again and said seriously, "Sumu, promise me, don't try to be brave. Someone else will do this work. It's not your turn. Do you understand?" She stared blankly. Just as she was about to say that she wasn't going to do it, he continued, "Perhaps you're also very important to some people, do you know?" She finally understood his words. She turned around in his arms and asked him, "Then, who is it for?" Yi Xiangnan pressed her against the back of the sofa and gave her a small punishment. "Are you still pretending?" There was a rare smile in her eyes. "I don't understand." Yi Xiangnan simply picked her up and walked upstairs. "I will make you understand." It was warm here. Su Jian didn't have a good time after she went back. She didn't do what Mr. Mi asked her to do. When she went back, Mr. Mi's face was terrible. Su Jian put down her handbag carefully and went over to act coquettishly. But Mr. Mi pushed her away. What about the thing I asked you to do? Su Jian's face froze. Then, she wanted to act coquettishly and get away with it. But Mr. Mi suddenly pinched her chin. Say it. Did you say it to your sister? Can we still eat together? Su Jian looked at the man in front of her. She was terrified. She finally knew that she wouldn't be able to eat well. She swallowed her saliva and said, yes, yes. It's this Saturday. Mr. Mi felt that he was wrong. He slowly put her down. Where is the appointment? Will Yi Xiangnan be there? Su Jian's brain was still very nimble, so she quickly came up with a lie to deceive others. She had to deceive me first before anything else. Chapter 52-46. What she didn't know was that Mr. Mi knew that she was lying, but he was willing to give her a chance because he knew that she wasn't a good person. Su Jian escaped death, but she was scared to death. She returned to the bedroom and wanted to escape, but she couldn't leave the cigarette. After thinking about it, she went to the hospital again. This time, Lu Hong wasn't there. Su Jian slowly closed the door, walked over, and knelt in front of Master Cheng. Master Cheng was eating an apple, and he didn't even look at her. His voice was indifferent. What brings you here? The gatekeeper is useless now, is he? Just anyone can come in. Xiao Mao looked at the door. Master Cheng said that he can't see you. We won't let him in next time. Su Jian knelt there and said softly, Master Cheng, please give me a chance to live. Cheng Zheng put down the things in her hands. She ground her teeth and said, You'll die if you follow old me. He doesn't have the same tender and protective feelings as me. At most, I'll just teach you a lesson or give you a few lashes with my belt. When old me starts messing with people, they'll end up dead. Think about whether you want to stay with him or not. Besides, he's so old. Do you really want a few cigarettes from him? Su Jian was ashamed, and she humbly said, Master Cheng, as long as you give me the cigarettes, I will definitely leave Mr. Mi. What Mr. Mi? He's so old. People in the underworld call him Old Me. I heard that the old man is a pervert. Su Jian, you're really something. I didn't know you liked this kind of thing. Master Cheng looked interested. Su Jian lowered her eyes. I was just muddle-headed. Master Cheng, I beg you. I don't have any more cigarettes, and I won't enter again. Master Cheng said frankly, since you came to find me, I'll show you the way. Su Jian's face was filled with anticipation. Even though you'll offend old me, as long as you apologize to Mumu, old me won't dare do anything to you in the open. Think about it yourself. I can only point you in the right direction. Whether you want to go or not is up to you. Master Cheng's expression was indifferent. At first, Su Jian was quite excited, but when she heard the end of it, she was a little stunned. I still have to quit, and I still have to apologize to Su Mu. Master Cheng, why do I have to lower my head to her? Why do I have to apologize? Is it hard to admit that you're inferior to others? Master Cheng frowned. I don't understand your pig brain. There's a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. You'll die sooner or later if you're with me. I'll say it here. Su Jian pleaded for a long time, but what kind of person was Master Cheng? He wasn't moved at all. In the end, when Sister Hong returned, Su Jian finally gave up. She crawled up and sneered, Master Cheng, I didn't expect you to be such a heartless person. There's no love between us. Didn't I just spend money to find a long-term hen? Didn't I tell you not to smoke? You're asking for it, and now you're blaming others. No wonder you're inferior to your sister. Qing Jing said bluntly. Su Jian's lips trembled, and she turned to leave. Sister Hong looked at the closed door, then at Master Qing. Why do you have to make it sound so bad? Hen, didn't you like her a lot before? Master Qing snorted. This woman is asking for a beating. She caused trouble herself, yet she still wants others to clean up the mess. Do you know what she's planning? She wants Su Mu to be her matchmaker, and Mr. Mi wants to meet Yi Xiangnan. Isn't this a dream? Old me wants to get rich when I don't even dare to do business anymore. This woman will fall into old me's hands sooner or later. Just watch. Tomorrow afternoon update there should be 6 updates. Chapter 52-47. Sister Hong said faintly, Qing Jing, cover your heart and tell me, do you have any responsibility for Su Jian's matter? What responsibility do I have? I didn't allow her to do it. Didn't you see it just now? I tried my best to persuade her, but she didn't listen. What else could I do? I can't possibly force her to do it, right? Master Qing said disapprovingly. Sister Hong sneered again. Then why don't you cover that part of yours and ask yourself? Master Chang's expression was as if he had eaten a big bee. Woman, can you not be so vulgar? A relationship between a man and a woman should be consensual. I have spent tens of millions on her. She willingly touched that thing, how is it my fault? Sister Hong was still looking at him. Master Chang looked especially aggrieved. Look at you, purposely picking on me. I have already said that it has nothing to do with me. You didn't see me when I was good, you didn't see me when I was righteous, you didn't see me when I rejected the evil money. Master Qing said, a little arrogantly covering his head with the blanket, his muffled voice coming out. I thought you came to see me, so that's not the case. Sister Hong was amused and angry. I didn't come to see you, but to see Su Jian. Who knows? Master Qing said, still revealing his head and acting coquettishly. I'm already in so much pain, you're talking about me. Sister Hong couldn't stand him and coughed lightly. Don't be like this, I won't fall for it. Then what do you fall for? Let me try. Master Qing said shamelessly. Then, he seemed to have thought of something. Su Jian's matter has long been forgotten, don't bring it up again. Sister Hong smiled and placed the thermos in her hand on a cabinet at the head of the bed. Master Chang's eyes widened. This is the soup my woman made for me, I have to finish it. And then? Either you die of stupidity or you die of stupidity. Sister Hong sneered, a little disapproving. Master Qing laughed with satisfaction. Xiao Mao, come and help me fill a bowl of soup. Don't let your sister-in-law do it. She's wearing a big diamond ring and she's dressed well. Don't dirty her clothes. Sister Hong sat at the side, the soup was made by the nanny at home. Master Qing, don't think too highly of yourself. Master Qing didn't mind. He smiled and said, what the nanny did is the same as what you did. What's the difference? I love them all. Xiao Mao happily came over to pour the soup for Master Qing. He looked like he was serving a newbie. Master Qing was a forthright person. Even when he was drinking chicken soup, he could still show some heroic spirit. Sister Hong just watched quietly. When he finished drinking, she asked about Mr. Mi. Master Qing wiped his lower lip and said indifferently, why are you asking about him? You're still hoping that I won't be the bad guy, and that I'll be the good guy to help my superiors get rid of that me guy. Don't you think your expectations of your man are too high? Sister Hong replied calmly, no, I just want to do a report. Master Qing glared at her. You're crazy. Master Gu lifted the blanket and walked over with the wound on his arm. Do you know how many people Mi has under him? He can kill you with just a word. Lu Hong, don't think that it's just death. There are many ways to make people wish they were dead. Lu Hong pursed her lips. I know. Qing Yang glared at her without saying a word. Sister Hong smiled again. Why are you so nervous? I just don't have any plans. Chapter 52-48. 1 second to remember. Master Cheng's expression was completely different from before as he stared at her. You better not have this thought. Destroy it all for me. Sister Hong looked at Master Cheng for a long time before saying softly, You care about me? Master Cheng scolded, If I don't care about you, can you fart here? Sister Hong blinked her eyes and actually smiled. Master Cheng's voice suddenly became hoarse as he quietly said, Lu Hong, it's true. This line of work isn't as simple as you think it is. There are so many vicious people out there, and you can't fight them alone. They can kill you in a matter of minutes. I know. She still said very softly, but Qing, if everyone doesn't do it, then wouldn't people like Mr. Me walk outside the law forever? Seeing that she didn't understand, Master Cheng was quite angry and said in a rough voice, Woman, why can't you understand? Is this something that you should care about? Is this something that you can care about? If you dare to touch a pen, I will kill you first, so that I won't worry about you in this world. Sister Hong was stunned for a moment, then she gently touched Master Cheng's face. That face was broad and well-shaped, and his facial features were well-defined. In fact, it was also good-looking, but because the owner was often angry, people neglected it. His figure was even more worth looking at. In fact, if it wasn't for his bad childhood and bad luck, Master Cheng's brain and looks would have been a dragon or phoenix among men when he grew up. He wouldn't be like this now, who was obviously handsome but often felt that he was an uncouth old man. Deep down, he still had some inferiority complex. Sister Hong suddenly said, I forgive you. When Master Cheng's face was touched by her, his heart was itching, but now that she suddenly said such a sentence, his voice was floating. What? Sister Hong said softly, I forgive you. This time, Master Cheng's voice was trembling. Does this mean that you are willing to reconcile with me? Sister Hong snorted softly. I think so. Master Cheng was happy, and he carried Sister Hong up and spun a few rounds. It chirped a few more times and said decisively to Xiao Mao, inform the brothers guarding outside to give each of them 1,000,000. Xiao Mao was also happy. Just as he was about to go down, Sister Hong stopped him. Xiao Mao, wait a moment. Xiao Mao made an "oh" sound and immediately came over, sister-in-law. Sister Hong pushed Master Ching onto the bed and harumphed, do you still think I'm the same as before? You're a spendthrift, spending millions in one go. How are you going to feed me after I've spent all my money? Grandpa Ching rubbed his chin. That's true. You're right. I won't be able to change my bad habit in a short period of time. Now, I'm different from before. Suddenly, he became excited again. It's really different when there's someone in charge. He straightforwardly said to Xiao Mao, how about this, you give 1,000,000, and the other brothers give 100,000. Your sister-in-law won't be able to object to this. It's rare to see her happy. Xiao Mao was naturally happy to receive 1,000,000 yuan. After thanking Master Ching, he went to do it. Suddenly, the inside and outside of the house were bustling with activity. Sister Hong scolded Master Ching a few more times. You're too high profile when you do things. She knocked him, and Master Ching enjoyed it very much. He obediently let Sister Hong do whatever she wanted to him. At this moment, he wanted to go back to the villa immediately so that he could continue living the life of a loving husband and wife. Master Cheng was injured, and he did not have any other thoughts. The two of them talked together. Master Ching could not change his stubborn character. He smiled and asked, "Are you living alone? Do you realize that you can't live without me?" Chapter 52-49. Sister Hong smiled faintly. "I just think you're quite cute. It's that simple." Master Ching touched his head. There are too many words to describe a man. Masculine, powerful, handsome and rich. How is that cute? You don't like it? Then I'll take it back. Sister Hong said indifferently with the face of a young lady. Master Ching treated her like a treasure. Don't take it back if I like it. Just say that I'm cute, especially cute. Sister Hong smiled. Seeing her smile, Master Ching also smiled embarrassedly. His tall body lay down heavily and stared at the ceiling. "I've been wandering my whole life. It's only today that I feel like I have a home." Sister Hong leaned over. "Do you want to get married?" Master Chang's eyes widened. "Get married?" Then he smiled. "We're all in the pugilistic world. Didn't I say that marriage is just a piece of paper? There are so many married men and women who want to get married and divorce. Can that piece of paper bind people's hearts?" Sister Hong leaned back. "It's the same excuse again." She played with her fingernails. "Master Ching, tell me, how many women have forced you to marry them?" Master Ching said carefully. "So far, it's really only you. The other women wouldn't dare to ask me to marry them even if they were given 100 guts. At most, they would ask for money, houses, jewelry, and so on." Sister Hong looked at him. Master Ching understood. "You want it too? Why not?" Sister Hong snorted. "I'm a pure and innocent person. If I don't want anything from you, wouldn't I be a fool? Besides, I forgave you and Su Jian for the sake of our relationship." "If there's a next time," Master Ching asked anxiously, "does that mean you won't forgive me?" Sister Hong said indifferently, "It's not that I won't forgive you. I'll just cut the weeds and eliminate the roots." "Kill that woman." Master Ching felt a chill. "That's too cruel." Sister Hong glanced at him. "Are you thinking too much? I mean, I'll chop you up so you won't have a chance to commit a crime." Master Chang's expression was interesting. He stared at Sister Hong for a long time. Sister Hong wasn't afraid of him at all. "What? You don't want to? Forget it if you don't want to." She looked like she was about to leave. Master Ching hurriedly lowered his head and said, "How could I not be willing? I am 120 willing. I am willing to do this from the bottom of my heart." As he spoke, he sighed, "I will definitely take care of myself." As he said this, he lowered his head and felt a chill down his spine. Later on, Godfather Ching complained to Xiao Mao, "Say, there are so many good-looking women out there. Why don't I like them? Why do I have to like such a powerful character? She was fierce and had no femininity at all. And you ask me for money all the time." Xiao Mao only smiled and said nothing. Master Ching had a lot of assets under his name. He had even more cash, big gold bars, big goldfish, and so on. He gave it all to Sister Hong. It was over 100 billion, and he didn't even blink. Sister Hong also accepted it. Little Mao accompanied Sister Hong as she ran around and chased away those brothers who were not convinced. Xiao Mao remembered that Sister Hong had told him that Master Ching was no longer involved in the shady business. Only in the bar and clubhouse, it was naturally incomparable to what he had earned in the past. If he continued to spend money like water, it would probably be spent in less than 10 years. Without money, it wouldn't be like it was now. So, she helped Master Ching save the money, but did not allow Xiao Mao to say anything. Xiao Mao truly felt that his sister-in-law was deeply in love with Master Ching. Although she was fierce and refused to admit it, everything she did was for Master Cheng's sake. Xiao Mao was so touched that he wanted to die. Chapter 5250. Master Cheng's move shocked everyone in the underworld. Almost everyone in B City knew about it. Master Cheng was really infatuated. Moreover, he was willing to spend a lot of money for Su Mu last time. This time, he was doing it for Sister Hong. Master Cheng's taste was unique. Sister Hong was now a rich woman with a net worth of hundreds of billions. She was even more different with Master Cheng's love. When she went to the newspaper office, Zhang Fucai reported his work and was about to leave. Sister Hong stopped him. Zhang Fucai, wait a minute. Zhang Fucai stopped and turned around. Looking at the glamorous woman, it was hard for him to remember her tomboyish appearance from before. Zhang Fucai was depressed. Money has such an effect on a woman's appearance. He couldn't help but think of his wife at home. She was only in her early 20s when she followed him. She was also pretty, but now she looked like a housewife. He felt a little guilty. What's the matter? Zhang Fucai sighed. What's wrong? I'll fix it. Sister Hong shook her head. No, you did a good job. Our newspaper office's sales have made a breakthrough this month. She took out a pile of envelopes. The finance department has just prepared these and distributed them to everyone. You and Du Meili are the biggest contributors. You got 2 million and Du Meili got 1.5 million. It's a half-year bonus for everyone. Work hard and I won't mistreat my own people. Zhang Fucai was a little surprised, but then he was happy. In the past year, he had earned about this amount. Now, his bonus was so much. It would be 4 or 5 million for the whole year. In 2 years, he would be able to move into a 4-bedroom apartment and a car. Suddenly, Zhang Fucai's heart was filled with mixed feelings. Actually, you don't have to do this for me, Sister Hong rolled her eyes. Fatty, don't flatter yourself. I'm doing this for everyone's better lives. She lit a cigarette. I'm not short of money. The newspaper office's performance is rising. It's only right to share some money with everyone. Shouldn't I give them money? Zhang Fucai whispered that he got it. Then, he took the envelopes out and distributed them to everyone. The newspaper office was naturally filled with cheers. Especially after Du Meili held the envelope, she felt the same as Zhang Fucai. She sat silently in the office for a long time before she mustered up the courage to go to Sister Hong's office. Sister Hong smiled faintly when she saw her. Do you have business to discuss with me? Du Meili shook her head. No, but I guess so. Sister Hong asked her to take a seat. She sat down carefully and said in a low voice, "Thank you." Sister Hong smiled. If it's for the prize money, you don't have to. Everyone has a share. She paused for a moment and said, "Your recent performance is commendable. You deserve these bonuses." Du Meili lowered her head and said in a low voice, "Sister Hong, I've let you down in the past. It's my fault for breaking you and Zhang Fucai apart. I'm sorry." She stood up and bent over 90 degrees. After so many years, she had never been able to admit that she was wrong. She was high-spirited, and she had always thought that she was much better than Sister Hong because she was young and good-looking. However, Sister Hong had never considered her as an enemy. Looking at it now, Sister Hong's magnanimity made her look especially ridiculous. Because she knew that if they were in each other's shoes, she would probably mess with Sister Hong so much that she would not be able to stay here anymore. Yes, she was vicious like that. Chapter 52-51. However, after she worked hard, Sister Hong gave her 1.5 million yuan as a bonus. Du Meili didn't have a house in B City. She had always wanted to buy one, but she was always short of 1 million yuan for the down payment. Now, the down payment was gathered, and it was given to her by the person she hated and despised the most. She had a mental breakdown. No matter what, she had to apologize. Not only because of the money, but also because of the person's character. Sister Hong was very calm. Let bygones be bygones. Our relationship now is that of a boss and an employee. If you do well, I will naturally give you a raise. If you don't, I will deduct your salary. It's that simple. Du Meili nodded. Thank you, Sister Hong. Sister Hong smiled. Do well. There will be more opportunities in the future. I heard that you want to buy a house. How about it? If you are short of money, you can get some money from the newspaper office. Du Meili hurriedly said, it's enough. I can still have a few 100,000 yuan on hand. Thank you, Sister Hong. I will treat you to a meal when I have time. You must come, Sister Hong. Sister Hong smiled. Since you are buying a house and got such a bonus, you can treat the people in the department to a meal. It won't cost you 20 or 30,000 yuan. Du Meili, of course, agreed. That night, they held the meal. Du Meili and Sister Hong's relationship had eased. It was a sensation in the newspaper office. The two of them used to be like fire and water, but now, they were treating each other to a meal. That night, Du Meili drank too much. She was not beautiful at all. She held Sister Hong's hand and cried, apologizing. She lost her composure, but no one cared. They were all very happy. Sister Hong also drank a lot. She and Du Meili were in a corner pulling a parent. The two women drank too much and didn't care about their image. Especially Du Meili, who usually looked like a goddess, was really drunk at this time. Her face was red as she smoked, and the makeup on her face had already been smeared. But this was not a problem at all. She felt that she was very cool now. I have a house. She pulled Sister Hong aside and started to nag, Sister Hong, listen to me. Although I've done a lot of bad things to you, if I hadn't done bad things, you wouldn't have met Master Ching, right? Master Ching is such a good person. He looks so manly. You don't even know how much I want to taste him, but he doesn't like me. This could be considered his heartfelt words. That was why drinking was really scary. Fortunately, Sister Hong didn't mind. In Sister Hong's heart, she didn't need to care about a man she could snatch away. Especially someone like Qing Jing, whose entire family was with her, she didn't need to be afraid. The more Du Meili spoke, the more she revealed her true nature. She even revealed Master Cheng's beautiful imagination, which made Sister Hong laugh to death. Women were just that strange. Once they let it go, once there was no man in between, everything would no longer be a problem. Du Meili said a lot, and the people around her even recorded it for her, saying that they would show it to her tomorrow. She was so embarrassed. Sister Hong also let them play around. She felt that it was quite good. After that, everyone raised their glasses together. Our son daily will only get better and better. After a toast, they went to the clubhouse to continue playing. Coincidentally, it was Master Cheng's place. In order to show her filial piety to Sister Hong, Du Meili even called 2 little wolf dogs over. When Xiao Mao heard the news, he immediately told Master Ching. Master Ching was recuperating in the hospital. Actually, he was almost fully recovered. He just stayed in the hospital and let Sister Hong take care of him every day. Now that he heard about it, he immediately lifted his blanket and got out of bed to catch them in the act. Chapter 52-52. Updated quickly. Actually, Master Ching came over angrily, but Xiao Mao stopped him and said softly, Master Ching, you can't do this. Think about it, if sister-in-law gets angry, it won't be fun. Master Ching snorted lightly. Does that mean she can spend her days drinking and having fun here? She even called a puppy. Was he not good-looking? Was his figure not good? Was there nothing to talk about when she was with him, or did he not know how to drink and sing and not understand a woman's heart? Master Ching was very angry, and Xiao Mao tried to calm him down. Master Ching, don't be angry, this is just a play. If you get serious, you will lose. Master Ching stared at him with widened eyes. She's a woman. What do you mean by playing around? What if she gets drunk and rolls around with someone else? Wouldn't I be cuckolded then? Xiao Mao frowned, but he still stopped his Master Ching. It's still not appropriate, Master Ching. Think about it, if you go there, you will make sister-in-law lose face. Will sister-in-law simply give up? You can see her for a while, but you can't see her for the rest of her life. She is not with Master Ching 24/7, anything can happen if her heart is not with Master Ching. Think about it, Master Ching, if you suddenly appear at this time and tell sister-in-law it's getting late and it's time to go home to rest, will sister-in-law feel that you are especially considerate, especially capable, and especially honorable? After Xiao Mao finished speaking, he looked at Master Ching with sparkling eyes. Master Ching touched his head. Tell me, what should I do to make her feel honorable? Xiao Mao said proudly, you have to pretend to be cultured. Just like CEO Yi, the moment a woman is prepared, she will like it. Master Ching looked at him, really? Xiao Mao patted his chest and promised, absolutely, trust me. Master Ching touched his head, thought about it, and felt that it was quite reliable. So, Master Ching asked for the location of the private room and went over, elegant and special. The atmosphere in the private room was naturally not good. When Master Ching entered, everyone fell silent. Then, they looked at Sister Hong. Sister Hong seemed to be in high spirits. Everyone thought that Godfather Ching was going to get angry, but Godfather Ching was a special man. He smiled and said, it's getting late, I'm here to pick you up. Everyone present was dumbfounded. Master Cheng's temperament was not that of an ordinary person. Sister Hong was stunned. She lit a cigarette and slowly took 2 puffs. Master Ching couldn't help but say, didn't I tell you not to smoke? It's fine if you drink a little, but you're not allowed to smoke in the future. You guys, he looked around. Help me keep an eye on her. She's not in good health. She shouldn't be smoking. Everyone was stunned once again. What kind of love was this? Master Ching pulled Sister Hong up and thoughtfully helped her put on a coat. At the same time, he complained in a low voice, how much did you drink? Sister Hong's alcohol tolerance was very good. She had already woken up and was smiling at Master Ching. His skills must have been taught by little Mao. He was so unsophisticated. Wasn't the domineering style he used to have. He had to pretend to be cultured, but he didn't look like one. Sister Hong chuckled, then stretched out her hand and lazily flicked her hair. Why did you come out from the hospital? When Master Ching heard her question, he couldn't help but say, when I was in the hospital, you were fooling around outside, right? Xiao Mao covered his face, not daring to continue listening. Sister Hong put on the coat and walked to the door. That's not bad. That's more like it. Why are you pretending to be cultured? Chapter 52-53. Master Chang was stunned. That's right, I pretended so well just now. How could I forget? This won't do. Master Chang still wanted to pretend, but Sister Hong waved her hand and said, "Stop pretending. You have such a personality, but you have to pretend to be neither." Master Chang sucked in a breath of cold air. Neither of them. He glared at Xiao Mao. What a bad idea. After a while, Master Ching became especially proud. Look, he still had a special charm in Sister Hong's heart. Speaking of his personality, wasn't that the taste of a man? He understood. Master Ching helped Sister Hong into the car and asked the driver to drive. Sister Hong leaned on his shoulder and told Master Ching everything that Du Meili had said to him. Master Chang's expression was particularly interesting. Look, there are so many women outside staring at me like wolves staring at meat. Why don't you cherish them? Sister Hong didn't say anything. He looked down and was furious. This woman actually fell asleep. It wasn't easy for him to get out of the hospital. He was thinking that absence makes the heart grow fonder. He hadn't been intimate with her for a long time, and Master Ching had been living like a monk for a long time. He thought that tonight would be a different life, but who knew that this woman would fall asleep in disappointment? According to Master Chang's personality in the past, he would have shaken her up regardless of anything and just let himself be happy. But now, he felt that after what Xiao Mao said, he had to be a proper gentleman to attract women. Therefore, Master Ching really hid a lot of tenderness in his heart. When the car stopped, he carried Sister Hong into the apartment. He was really very well behaved, wiping his sweat and washing his face. After this commotion, Sister Hong woke up and quietly looked at him. Master Chang's voice was slightly hoarse. Why are you awake? I drank too much, and now my stomach is burning. Sister Hong said softly. Master Ching said, "It's your turn." Then, he went to pour water for her in a good mood. He really took good care of her. Sister Hong looked at him quietly and buried her head in the pillow. Later, Master Ching came over with the water. He helped her up and leaned on his shoulder to carefully feed her water. He was wearing a black shirt. His personality and face were a little gentle, and he was taking care of her like this. Any woman would be tempted. After Sister Hong finished drinking the water, she still leaned on his shoulder. Master Ching endured it for a while before gritting his teeth and saying, "Why do you become so sentimental when you drink? You're already so old, don't act like a little girl." Sister Hong wrapped her arms around his neck and said, "Go find a girl." Master Ching was stunned for a moment. Then, he coughed lightly and said, "They're not as good as you." Sister Hong smiled and raised her head. "How are you inferior to me?" Master Ching was a little teased. He blushed and stammered, "I'm not as good as you anywhere." Early in the morning, Master Ching got up first and went outside to practice a set of boxing. When he came back, Sister Hong was already up. She was cooking breakfast in a white bathrobe. Her long, curly hair was tied up casually. The morning light shone on the side of her face, making her look especially beautiful. Master Ching couldn't help but hug her from behind. Sister Hong despised him to death. "You're covered in sweat. Go take a shower. Breakfast will be ready soon." Master Ching was in a very good mood. After a while, he went to take a shower. When he turned back, he felt refreshed. The two of them chatted while eating breakfast. Master Ching chewed on his sandwich and said, "From now on, we'll be living together again." Sister Hong looked at him and said, "You look like you have a lot to say." Chapter 52-54. Master Ching said straightforwardly, since we're together, we should have a rule, right? Otherwise, we'll be busy too. If we don't go home, what kind of family is this? Master Ching was using the same trick again. This time, he was going to make a rule. Sister Hong was amused. She lowered her eyes and said, "Tell me about it." Master Ching pursed his lips and said seriously, "In the future, we won't work overtime. You're not allowed to smoke and drink less. This is the family rule. You're not allowed to find a puppy. If you want one, you can look for me. I guarantee you'll be satisfied." Master Ching said shamelessly. Sister Hong yawned. "Anything else?" Master Ching said softly, "Also, nothing else. I'm very lenient with you." Sister Hong smiled. "You're very lenient." "Thank you. Can you do it?" Master Ching laughed. He smiled proudly. "Of course I can do it. It's self-cultivation." Sister Hong looked at him. "You're not looking for girls anymore. Didn't I say that they're not as good as you?" Master Ching winked. Sister Hong smiled and didn't mind. Master Ching felt great. He leaned over and said a few more words. Sister Hong couldn't stand him. "You'll feel bored after a long time. Don't be so full of yourself." Master Ching smiled. "Of course not. I think it's good this way. It's a warm family." Sister Hong didn't say anything. Actually, at her age, she had seen through love. She had this man in her heart, so she gave him a chance. But if what happened before happened again, she wouldn't take his life, let alone all his assets. After talking to him, Sister Hong went to work. She couldn't do without her in the news agency. Master Ching was naturally unwilling. He didn't have to go to work and would go out for a walk. They had just reconciled and were in good condition last night. He wanted to be intimate with her. Sister Hong didn't fall for it. "I have to go to work. There are so many mouths to feed in the news agency." Master Ching. Master Ching rubbed his head. "I'll subsidize you with 100 million every year. Isn't that enough?" Sister Hong snorted. "The money is all with me. How are you going to compensate me?" "I just said that you're starting to be extravagant again. Have you ever read Dream of the Red Chamber? The Chow family squandered their money like dirt just like you." Master Ching was unhappy and shouted, "Are you looking down on me again? Do you think I'm not a scholar? How could I have read something like Dream of the Red Chamber?" Sister Hong took the coat and said, "Can you read? If you can, then buy a book to read. It'll help you pass the time." When Master Ching heard that, he immediately shouted, "I don't know much. Why don't you teach me?" In fact, Sister Hong also didn't know how such an illiterate man managed to get into the company. She was a little helpless. "Follow me to work. If you don't understand, just ask me." In order to stay by her side, Master Ching really asked someone to prepare elementary school textbooks for him to read. He was not afraid of losing face as he read them in public. Sometimes she would read it aloud, especially ancient poems, which were about love. She would read it with gusto as the words of love. But his sentences were not right, so it seemed a little funny. Others laughed when they heard it, but Sister Hong didn't care. She brought her boss in and out like she was bringing a child to work. Later on, the people in the news agency got used to it. Chapter 52-55. 1 second to memorize. Master Ching would occasionally go out and get injured. Later on, after Sister Hong mentioned it, he cherished his skin and flesh even more, so he rarely got injured. These days, the weather was good. Master Ching had never been so warm. He followed her to work during the day and came back at night to have dinner prepared by the auntie. They ate together, took a walk, and sometimes went shopping. Women liked to buy things, so Master Ching was in charge of carrying things and swiping his credit card. They were actually living like an ordinary married couple, except that they didn't have a marriage certificate. Sister Hong asked, but Master Ching said that they were all men and women, so she didn't ask anymore. In any case, it was fine as long as they were living well. After a long time, Master Ching also got used to this kind of life. Sometimes, when he received a call from Xiao Mao in the middle of the night, he was too lazy to get up. Master Ching thought that it was probably because he was soaked in the land of gentleness. As he laughed at himself, he put on his clothes and went out. Sister Hong waited for the whole night. Until the next day, Master Ching came back. His eyes were red, and so was hers. This kind of life was quiet and beautiful. Sister Hong also seemed to be used to having such a person by her side. She even wanted to be with him forever. She had reason to think so, because when a man gave all his assets to you, it was actually more reliable than a marriage certificate. Life here was like glue, but Su Jian's life over there wasn't good. She lied to Mr. Mi and asked Su Mu out for a meal, but she didn't. These few days, Su Jian was like an ant on a hot pan. She was so anxious that she went back to discuss it with Mother Su. Mother Su was suspicious. Haven't you always been at odds with Su Mu? Why are you asking her out for a meal, and you even called Yi Xiangnan? As she said that, Mother Su said unhappily, other than coming to see your father, Su Mu doesn't care about this mother at all. If I ask her out, she might not come. Su Jian whispered, what my father? My father ran away long ago. Mother Su spat her. Don't talk nonsense. Do you want others to hear you? How can I be human in the future? Su Jian smiled sheepishly. Mom, you've already done it. What are you afraid of? You've already done it. Mother Su was so angry that she wanted to hit someone, but Su Jian didn't care and said, Mom, I'm begging you, help me think of a way. You must have Su Mu and Yi Xiangnan come over for a meal. I know you always have a way. Mother Su saw her expression and knew that this was a serious matter. If it couldn't be done, Jian would probably be done for. She thought about it seriously and then slowly said, how about this, we'll let Xiao Qin go home and say that he's sick. We'll let Su Mu and Yi Xiangnan come over to take a look. Su Mu is so concerned about Xiao Qin, he'll definitely come back. Only she could come up with such an idea. He didn't care about his son or Su Mu at all. Su Jian, however, felt that the idea was too wonderful. Mom, you know big sister too well. This is a great idea. I love you so much. Mother Su was still quite worried. Well, when that Mr. Mi comes over, don't say that he's your man. Just say that he's the boss. I still want to save face here. Su Jian promised again and again, and both sides agreed. Thus, Su Xiaoqing was brought back by Su Jian, but she couldn't ask anything. She only knew that there was a family banquet at home and they were in full swing. Su Xiaoqiang scolded inside, my son is fine. You said that he's sick and lied to Mumu to come back. Are you sick? Do you have a conscience? What evil intentions do you have? Chapter 52-56. Even though he heard them, he kept his phone and his legs were broken, so he couldn't move an inch. He couldn't do anything to them and could only scold them. Su Xiaoqing was stunned. Mom, you guys, Mother Su didn't mind. We just wanted to ask your sister to come back for a meal. What's there to be afraid of? She's putting on airs now. If not for the fact that you're sick, she wouldn't have come back. Now that she's married, she doesn't care about her family anymore. Su Shaoqing didn't say anything and went to help Su Shaoqiang up. Su Shaoqiang's legs were broken and he didn't have anyone to take care of him. Even though Su Shaoqing knew that he wasn't his biological son, he couldn't bear to see him live like that. He knew that every time his sister came back, his mom would act like that. Once she left, she would act differently. Since his sister was here today, it was time to talk about it. Su Shaoqing was now under Su Mu's care. He was usually at Su Mu's place during the holidays, but he would come back to see Su Shaoqiang. What he saw was more real, so he couldn't bear to do it. Even though it would cause trouble for his sister, but, he thought to himself, out of the 3 children, only his sister was his biological daughter. Just for this, he had to continue this kinship for his sister. On the other side, Su Mu received the call and was stunned for a moment. She had just spoken to Shaoqing on the phone at noon. How could he be sick? Her mother said that he had been sick for 2 days and the hospital said that it was serious. She wanted her and Yi Xiangnan to go home to discuss it. It was a trap. After work, she sat in the car and told Yi Xiangnan. Yi Xiangnan slowly fastened his seatbelt and sighed. We still have to go, don't you think? Su Mu wasn't a fool. She lowered her head and said softly, I'm afraid it's Xian's doing. It should be Mr. Mi behind it, mainly because he wants to see you. Yi Xiangnan's voice was indifferent. Then let him give up. Also, Shaoqing and your dad can't stay there anymore. That Mi guy is much more sinister than Qingzheng. Qingzheng still has some principles, but that guy isn't. Your mother and Su Jian are stubborn, and no one can save them. There's no need for your father and Shaoqing to get involved. He thought for a moment. He can't go back to Shaoqing's previous high school. Let's go to my school. It's fully enclosed, absolutely safe. I'll get someone to pick him up during the holidays. Or since he's in the limelight now, he might as well not come back and wait for me to be done for. He ground his white teeth. I didn't want to touch him before, but now that he's plotting against me, I don't want to let him go. Su Mu leaned her head on his shoulder. Yi Xiangnan, do I always bring you trouble? How could that be? He laughed. Did you bring that Mi guy to be a bad guy? He reached out and touched her head. It's my responsibility as a man to let you live a better life. Oh, she said. She felt like she was being pampered. Before Yi Xiangnan started the car, he suddenly asked, Su Mu, do you like me a little bit now? Ah, she said in a low voice, more than a little bit more. He laughed. Really? Su Mu didn't want to talk anymore. She turned her face to the side and looked out of the window. Her face was very hot. Yi Xiannan's low chuckle rang out beside her ear, causing her face to heat up even more. When we get home, Mrs. Yi will confess again, and he said deliberately. Chapter 52-57. Su Mu looked at him, and there was a touch of speechlessness in her eyes. I'm talking to you about something serious. He smiled. I'm talking to you about something serious too. After that, he didn't make things difficult for her anymore, but focused on driving. When they arrived at the Su family, sure enough, everything was fine. Su Mu's mother was especially enthusiastic, so enthusiastic that Su Mu felt a little cold. She really didn't have any feelings for Su Jian's mother and Su Jian. What she did today gave her a new understanding. Mother Su made a table full of dishes and asked everyone to sit down. Su Mu looked at Yi Xiangnan. Let's eat. Yi Xiangnan smiled and didn't mind. He sat next to Su Mu. At this time, Su Jian came out of the room. She was wearing a cool bathrobe, and she didn't avoid it. She wanted to sit next to Yi Xiangnan, but was stopped by Su Mu. She said very directly, "Jian, it's not appropriate for you to wear this and sit next to your brother-in-law." Su Jian also relied on her youth and beauty. She flipped her hair. Sister, brother-in-law doesn't care. Why do you care so much?" Then she looked at Yi Xiangnan. "Brother-in-law, oh." Yi Xiangnan's tone was indifferent. "I'm sorry, I care. If you must wear this to eat, sit a little further away from me. I have a family." Su Jian still wanted to act coquettishly, but Yi Xiangnan's face was a little gloomy. She didn't dare to offend him, so she obediently changed into normal clothes. Mother Su wasn't happy. "We're all family. What's wrong with wearing pajamas?" "It's in your way, Su Mu. No matter how much you don't like Jian, you can't target her like this." Su Mu was especially angry. This wasn't like what a mother would say. Was this how Su Jian was led astray? Just as she was about to speak, Yi Xiangnan stopped her and said, "I personally don't mind. How about this? I'll invite Madame Su and Su Jian to wear those pajamas and have a meal together. After all, we're a family, right?" He wanted to see if Mother Su would still be so shameless. Now, he was glad that Su Mu didn't grow up crooked in this family. He really couldn't agree with Mother Su's values. As soon as Yi Xiangnan finished speaking, Mama Su's face darkened. She couldn't continue the conversation. How could he let her do this? Not only Shao Qing and Yi Xiangnan were here, but Mr. Mi was also here. She didn't want an old man like that. Mama Su panicked. Su Jian came out, and Mr. Mi came too. At first glance, Mother Su couldn't praise her no matter how hard she tried. Looking at the handsome and noble CEO Yi, and then looking at Mr. Mi who was over 50 years old with half of his hair missing, Jian's appearance was already so bad, but she was still a concubine. Mother Su instantly pinched her mouth. She opened her mouth again and again, and then squeezed out a sentence, "This is Mr. Mi. Let's have a meal together." So many polite words, but she couldn't say a single word. Su Jian also felt that her mother was shameful, but she didn't feel that she was shameful. She held Mr. Mi's arm and introduced, "Brother-in-law, this is Mr. Mi." Mr. Mi smiled, "CEO Yi, I've heard a lot about you. After we meet today, we will be relatives." Yi Xiangnan smiled, holding a cup and playing with it. "I don't know what kind of relatives Mr. Mi is talking about. You took Su Jian as your goddaughter? Isn't that a generation older than me for no reason?" Mr. Mi sat down calmly and smiled. "How dare I be a generation older than CEO Yi? Jian and I are also in love with each other. She is my girlfriend." Chapter 52-58. Yi Xiannan smiled again. "Doesn't Mr. Mi have a wife? Why does he have a girlfriend? This is not legal. It's a monogamous system now. Can Mr. Mi change the law?" Yi Xiannan smiled again. These words were clearly meant to knock him down. How could Mr. Mi not understand? He didn't get angry. Instead, he said with a playful smile, "CEO Yi, you know the most about this. There's still a favor outside the law. Don't you think so, CEO Yi?" Yi Xiannan hugged his wife. "I feel that after marriage, it's time to settle down. Husband and wife must be loyal to each other." Mr. Mi smiled. "CEO Yi is a man of passion. Unfortunately, I made a mistake. I'll drink 3 cups as punishment. As he said that, he drank 3 cups of white wine in one go. He was generous. After drinking, he said to himself, it's already like this. What else can I do? Jiyan can only follow me. Su Jiyan wasn't afraid of being embarrassed. Secondly, she had to cooperate with Mr. Mi. She shyly said that Mr. Mi was bad and bad. Su Mu wanted to vomit. She looked at Su Jian's mother. Su Jian's mother's face was also green. She was strong all her life. She didn't like her eldest daughter. She felt that she was like Su Xiaoqiang. She had always loved Su Jian. However, the scene in front of her made her feel embarrassed. Jian was now someone else's plaything. Su Mu was obviously held in the palm of Yi Xiangnan's hand. Such a comparison made Su Jian's mother feel uncomfortable. She didn't dare to lose her temper. She didn't dare to stop Mr. Mi. That was a black door. He could raid her house in minutes like Master Ching. Su Jian's mother was unhappy. She didn't speak much. She just blabbered on with a black face. At this time, Mr. Mi came to the point. I just don't know if CEO Yi can make an exception for this kind of illegal thing. If you can, I will definitely thank you. There was a hidden meaning in his words. Even a fool could understand it clearly. Su Jian also looked at her brother-in-law. She hoped that he could agree immediately. At this time, she had a different thought in her mind. It turned out that Mr. Mi and Master Ching had to ask her brother-in-law to do things for them. Was her brother-in-law's family really very prominent? In the past, when she was with Master Ching, she didn't feel anything. But now, compared to Mr. Mi, her brother-in-law was really good-looking. Su Jian's face reddened suspiciously, and her heartbeat quickened. She wished she could change into the clothes she had worn earlier so that she could be more seductive. However, she was thinking too much. What kind of woman had Yi Xiangnan not seen before? Would he want a slut with so many hands? At this moment, when he heard Mr. Mi's words, he lowered his eyes and chuckled. Mr. Mi's words are too polite. You and Jian have an illegal relationship. You just have to go home and divorce your wife, then get a certificate, and it will be legal. Mr. Mi actually forgot such a simple thing. Mr. Mi's old face froze. He didn't expect Yi Xiangnan to talk about the relationship between a man and a woman. He chuckled. CEO Ye's words are really watertight. You're too conservative. It's better to be conservative. It's safer, isn't it, Mr. Mi? Yi Xiangnan smiled and then put the wine glass in his hand on the table. It seems that I can't eat this meal anymore. He stood up. Moo, let's go home. Su Mu followed him and stood up. At this time, Mr. Mi's face was very ugly. CEO Yi, you refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Yi Xiangnan suddenly sneered. You? He took a step forward. In B City, no one dares to talk to me like this. Mr. Mi, you probably don't know who you are. How dare you threaten me? Chapter 52-59. Memorize. Mr. Mi said coldly, Su Jian is in my hands. Do whatever you want to her. It has nothing to do with me. Also, if you dare touch a single hair on my wife and my child, I will destroy your entire family, and you as well. Not a single hair will be left. Yi Xiannan's eyes flashed with a cold light. He did not need to worry when he was fighting with Qing Zheng. Su Mu was Qing Zheng's benefactor. Qing Zheng would not stoop to attacking women and children. However, this Mr. Mi was different. He was vicious. How stupid was this woman, Su Jian, to provoke such a person? Mr. Mi was furious, but it wasn't convenient for him to fall out with Yi Xiangnan. If he stayed any longer, he would only be asking for humiliation. Thus, he decided to leave first. Su Jian was scared to death. She bit her lips and said, "Brother-in-law, you will kill me if you do this." "Is that so?" Yi Xiangnan said bluntly, "I told you to climb over to him. You're the one who's cheap and you're blaming others." He was really sharp-tongued. Su Mu couldn't listen to him anymore. However, Yi Xiangnan had no intention of restraining himself. He looked at Su Qingsang's mother, who was about to speak. "Do you still think that Su Mu harmed you? In fact, it was you who harmed her. I really don't know how you have the guts to make this call. Is there something wrong with your brains? Why don't you stay in the hospital and call Su Mu? He's perfectly fine now, but you're cursing a teenager just because of your good-for-nothing daughter." "Wang Yuanke, I'm taking Su Xiaoqiang and Xiaoqing with me. You don't have to worry about their lives in the future. Also, I won't care about you and your daughter. That's all I have to say." After Yi Xiangnan finished speaking, someone came over and carried Su Xiaoqiang away to the relevant sanatorium for treatment. When the wheelchair was pushed out, Su Xiaoqiang's condition was really not good. Originally, it was only his leg that was broken, but from the looks of it, his spirit was not good either. Su Mu was quite sad to see this. "Go and see him one day. Don't worry, it's a military hospital with the best care. No one will dare to disturb him." Yi Xiangnan looked at Su Xiaoqing's mother. "Su Jian has to quit, or the result will not be as good as Su Xiaoqiang. Think about it." After speaking, he took Su Mu and Su Xiaoqing away. Mama Su's lips moved. She wanted to say something, but she couldn't. She wanted to say something. Su Jian's words with your sister. After they left, she whispered to her little daughter, "Jian, what your brother-in-law said actually makes a lot of sense. That Mr. Mi doesn't seem to be easy to deal with. Why don't you quit and beg your sister? Your sister is soft-hearted and will protect us. Mr. Mi doesn't seem to be easy to deal with. Why don't you quit and beg your sister? Your sister is soft-hearted and will protect us." Su Jian was actually afraid, but just thinking about the pain of quitting made her retreat. She squeezed out a smile and said, "Mom, how is Mr. Mi scary? He is very respectful to you. He even brought a ginseng for you to nourish your body. Look, brother-in-law didn't even bring a cabbage. He even took Dad and Xiaoqing away. Who do you think is good to our family?" If it was in the past, Su's mother would have been convinced by her fallacious reasoning. Anyway, it was Jian who was right and Su Mu who was wrong. But after being seen by Su's mother today, she could no longer look Jian in the eye. Su's mother hesitated for a moment and seemed to have made up her mind. "Jian, leave Mr. Mi," Su Jian screamed. "Mom, you have been poisoned by Su Mu. How can you believe her words? Your brother-in-law is a big shot. You know about his family. I believe what he says. Jian, listen to me. It's embarrassing for you to be a mistress, but if you continue to follow Mr. Mi like this, I'm afraid that our family will be ruined." Su Qingsang's mother finally regained her composure. Chapter 5260. Memorize. Su Jian smiled awkwardly. "Mom, you missed me. How could that be?" She went on, "Mr. Mead loves me very much. If it weren't for the fact that big sister and brother-in-law refused to help, we would be fine now. We didn't do anything wrong. It was big sister's fault. Haven't you always said this since we were young? She's wrong. Even if she's right, she's wrong. Mother Sue stared at her for a long time before suddenly saying, "Perhaps CEO Yi is right. I've led you astray, unable to tell right from wrong." Although Su Jian's mother was a mess when it came to men and women, and was heartless toward Su Xiaoqiang, the thing that Su Jian smoked made her tremble in fear, not to mention participating in it. If she had known this earlier, she wouldn't have dared to call Su Mu back. She was now regretting and afraid that she would be killed by Su Jian. Mother Su calmed down. "Jian, let Mom bring you away. Leave this place and think of a way to quit. Let's start a new life. Don't you have a lot of jewelry and money in your hands? It's enough for you to live your life. Why do you have to serve an old man?" Su Jian stared at her for a long time before saying, "Mom, I'm not leaving." She didn't want to leave. Why would she leave? Brother-in-law didn't agree today because eldest sister was here. She didn't believe that if eldest sister wasn't here, brother-in-law would be captivated by her. She was much younger and prettier than Su Mu. When she said that, Mama Su was stunned. "Your brother-in-law doesn't like you." Su Jian said coquettishly, "I have to work hard. Big sister is here. Brother-in-law can't look like he's going to cheat." "Mom, don't worry. I've dealt with brother-in-law. Everything is settled." Auntie Su gulped. She knew that it was impossible for Su Jian to get her way. She was also a woman. Today, the disgust in Yi Xiangnan's eyes was clear. She did not know why Su Jian was so confident and where did this confidence come from. She really hadn't taught her these things. As Auntie Su listened, she felt like crying. This child was completely crooked. He was finished. She couldn't persuade him, so she went back to her room and cried silently. When she calmed down, she packed up and prepared to run. She had to go. If she stayed, she would die with Su Jian. She had tried to persuade him, but he didn't budge, so he shouldn't blame her for being cruel. Su Qingsang's mother actually ran away overnight. She bought a plane ticket to a small town in the south and disappeared without a trace. She took away the tens of millions of dollars that her two daughters had given her, which was enough for her to live on. Su Jian found out that her mother had left at 10:00 at night because the room was turned upside down and the floor was covered with clothes. She was stunned for a moment before she realized that her mother had run away and didn't want her anymore. Su Jian stomped her feet. "You're so scared of such a small matter." In her heart, she still felt that she could take down Yi Xiangnan, so she was not afraid and even called Mr. Mi. Mr. Mi's voice was very cold. He said that he would give her 3 days. Su Jian was still delicate, and Mr. Mi hung up the phone directly. Su Jian hummed softly, "Take down Yi Xiangnan, who would want to follow an old man like you? I don't have anything I want." But she didn't know that this was her last beautiful dream. It had to be said that Auntie Sue's premonition was right. Late at night, in the car, Yi Xiangnan asked someone to take Su Xiaoqiang away, and he drove Su Xiaoqing alone to the school he used to study at. After driving for 4 hours, they finally arrived. Everyone hadn't eaten, and in the end, they used some special privileges to open a special kitchen in the canteen. Chapter 52-61. 1 second to remember. Su Mu sat quietly, listening to Yi Xiangnan and Xiaoqing talk about school. She couldn't help but think of the time when she and Xiaoqing went back. At that time, Yi Xiangnan was very impatient and fierce to her. But now, it was clearly her problem, and he had taken all of it, and made the best arrangements. It would be much, much better than her handling it. She tilted her head and looked at him, with a gentleness in her eyes that he could understand. Under the table, Yi Xiangnan held her hand, but on the surface, he was talking to Xiaoqing. If it wasn't for her, she would never have known that he was holding her hand like this under the table. Until an instructor took Xiaoqing away, Sumu told him to study hard, and that it was very safe here. Su Xiaoqing was in a daze for a moment, then said softly, "Second sister, she..." Sumu smiled faintly and didn't say anything. She wasn't a saint. Su Jian really couldn't be saved from the inside out. Even if you forced her to such a place, she would still smoke that kind of cigarette when she came out. And tonight, she had broadened her horizons. Sumu wasn't stupid enough to let a wolf into the house and mess up her life for Su Jian. Su Xiaoqing nodded. I understand. Everyone was helpless against Su Jian, because she didn't want to save herself. She didn't even know what she did wrong. Sumu left with Yi Xiangnan. When she got into the car, she suddenly asked, "Are you tired? I'll drive for 2 hours. You sleep for a while." He looked at her and smiled. Okay. However, he still sat in the passenger seat and didn't sleep. He just leaned against the seat and talked to Sumu. He took over after Sumu drove for an hour. When they returned to the villa, it was already 3 in the morning. It was really late, and the two of them were very tired. After taking a shower, they lay down together. The next morning, Sumu didn't wake up. She was probably too tired. Yi Xiangnan thought about it and decided not to wake her up. He ate breakfast and went to the company. After finishing a few important business matters, Secretary Li knocked on the door and came in. The expression on his face was a little complicated. What's wrong? Yi Xiangnan held the phone in his hand, wondering if he should call Sumu. At this time, she should have woken up. There was no one at home, so he didn't know if she would eat lunch. At this time, CEO Yi treated Sumu as a child. Thinking about it, Sumu lived alone with the Cymbidium chinense for several years. But it was different now. He was willing to spoil her. While he was thinking, Secretary Li whispered, "It's Miss Su Jian. She wants to see CEO Yi." Her. Yi Xiangnan snorted coldly. "Just say that I'm not here. That person is quite good at doing things. CEO Yi should see her. Otherwise, if he comes every day, it won't be good for Sumu," Secretary Li said. Yi Xiangnan thought about it. Sumu wasn't here. In front of Sumu, some things couldn't be too overboard. Now was the right time. So he gave a few instructions in a low voice. Secretary Li looked at him and went out with a smile. In less than 5 minutes, Su Jian came and was stunned as soon as she came in. Such a big office. She thought that the outside was already very grand. She didn't expect this office to be really luxurious. It was so big that she could run. Su Jian smiled charmingly. "Brother-in-law, your place is so big. Don't call me brother-in-law." Yi Xiangnan sat behind the desk and said lightly. Su Jian was stunned for a moment, then smiled gently. "If not brother-in-law, what should I call you?" You're tuning in to the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.